Caitlin Clark just flipped the entire sports world on its head. For weeks, the whispers grew louder. Her season was over, the fever were done, and the hype had finally fizzled out. But tonight, all of that disintegrated. Clark made it official. She's healthy, she's locked in, and she's playing in the WNBA Finals. It sounds like something out of a script, except it's real. And now, the same voices that once doubted her are scrambling. The league skeptics, so certain in their predictions, have been blindsided. What the Indiana Fever have done this season is nothing short of unbelievable. This wasn't supposed to be their moment. A young team, riddled with injuries, was counted out early. Analysts pegged them as fringe playoff material at best, and when Clark's groin injury surfaced, most figured that was a final blow. But the Fever refused to fold. They didn't just survive. They battled, clawed, and endured, rewriting the narrative with each game. Aaliyah Boston turned into the anchor, dominating the paint with the power and poise that made her a legend at South Carolina. Kelsey Mitchell re-earned her Money Mitch crown, drilling shots in crunch time like it was second nature. Odyssey Sims, overlooked by so many for so long, became the calming force, the veteran presence this roster needed, grinding out possessions and steadying the ship. They carried Indiana to the finals on sheer grit. But all of that, as incredible as it was, is just a foundation. Because Caitlin Clark is back, and her presence doesn't just add talent. It detonates the entire landscape. She changes how the game is played, how it's defended, how it's experienced. Her gravity stretches defenses to the breaking point. Play her tight and Boston eats inside. Collapse the paint, and Clark hits daggers from absurd range. Leave Mitchell open, and it's 3 points before you blink. With Clark back on the floor, Indiana becomes impossible to guard. The so-called super teams, Las Vegas, New York, they thought they lucked out. They believed Clark was gone and planned accordingly. Now, they are staring down their worst-case scenario. And it's not just tactical, it's psychological. The fear hit before the opening tip. This wasn't luck, either. Indiana's front office was playing chess while everyone else played checkers. That mysterious open roster spot? It was a trapdoor, left ajar just enough. Under WNBA rules, you can reactivate an injured player if there's space. And Indiana waited, let the speculation swell, then made their move at the perfect time. It was strategy, timing, and pure theater. Even the league office knows what this means. With Clark in the finals, this isn't just a championship series. It's a cultural moment. Ratings will soar. Networks will pivot. Highlights will flood every feed. Clark isn't just a player. She's an event. And that makes this return as dangerous as it is dazzling. Because with that spotlight comes pressure. On her, on the league, on everyone. The WNBA benefits from her presence, but it also exposes its dependency on her star power. The Fever are taking a calculated risk. Coming back from injury isn't easy. Groin issues linger. Flare up, test your stamina. But even a limited Clark demands defensive attention from 30 feet out. That kind of pull changes everything. Indiana is betting big. They are not just happy to be here. They believe they can win it all. Clark's return gives her teammates room to breathe. Boston gets one-on-one matchups again. Mitchell finds space she hasn't seen in weeks. Sims can lead without having to carry. Even the role players become dangerous when defenses are this stretched. The ceiling isn't just higher, it's gone. That's why everyone else is nervous. If the Fever made it this far without Clark, what happens now that she's back? The critics? They're eating their words. They mocked her transition to the pros, laughed at her injury, claimed she was overrated. Now she's returning in the biggest moment of the season, not as a footnote, not as an afterthought, but as a central figure. It's a reckoning. Every doubter, every hot take, every smug dismissal, those receipts are coming due. This is bigger than basketball. This is about legacy. Clark didn't need to come back to prove anything. She's already the face of the league, already filling arenas, already breaking viewership records. But by returning now, on this stage, at this time, she's sending message. She's not just here to be a star. She's here to compete, to lead, to win. And whether she lifts the trophy or not, her return will be etched into the league's history forever. The gamble is real. The risk is real. But so is a belief. Indiana isn't just hoping. They are daring to win it all. Critics are waiting, circling like sharks. If Caitlin Clark tweaks an injury again, the blowback will be brutal. Indiana could have chosen caution. Rest her, prep for next year, dodge the noise. But they didn't. They rolled the dice, and that risk speaks volumes about who they become. Not long ago, the Fever were the league's running joke. 5-win seasons, half-empty seats, wasted potential. But those days are dead. This version of Indiana is fearless, ambitious, and unapologetically bold. They didn't sneak into the finals. They fought their way here, and now they are doubling down on belief. Meanwhile, their opponents aren't invincible. Vegas has wobbled under playoff pressure, and New York's star-studded lineup is still tripping over its own chemistry. Neither of these so-called powerhouses looks untouchable anymore. And now they have to brace for a rejuvenated Indiana, not just confident, but supercharged with Clark's return. The moment she was ruled in, everything shifted. The aura changed. The advantage tilted. The teams that thought they'd dodged and now find themselves staring down their worst nightmare. And outside the court, the Fever are already winning. The buzz is deafening. Fans are flooding in, networks are foaming at the mouth, and every corner of social media is erupting. People who didn't know Indiana's record last week are now setting reminders for tip-off. Everyone wants to see what Clark will do. And the critics? They are scrambling. She's rusty, they say. She'll disrupt team flow. But none of it will matter if the scoreboard swings Indiana's way. Because finals basketball isn't about perfection. It's about presence, composure, and impact. And Clark brings all three. She's been under lights brighter than most will ever know. Pressure doesn't shrink her. It fuels her. Whether she scores 2 points or 20, her presence alone warps every possession. Defenders lean her way. Coaches burn hours trying to counter her, and fans can't take their eyes off her. She changes the rhythm of the game just by existing on the floor. That kind of gravitational pull doesn't show up in box scores, but it wins games. And now, with her in uniform again, the Fever aren't just a feel-good story. They're a serious threat. If Clark makes this work, if she doesn't just return but leads this team to the top, her legacy launches into another dimension. She doesn't need a trophy to prove her worth. Just stepping back onto that finals court, after everything, cements her place in WNBA history. Year 2, already the franchise cornerstone, already shifting the narrative, already turning doubters into believers. It's the kind of storyline that becomes legend, the kind kids grow up mimicking, the kind that makes the ground beneath the league shake. And that's what rattles her critics the most. They were so certain. They laughed. They mocked. They wrote her off with confidence. But now she's back, and nothing they say can stop it. The game is real. The moment is here. And Indiana isn't sneaking up on anyone anymore. They're marching into battle with their biggest weapon returned. Love her or hate her, Clark is about to command the spotlight, dominate the dialogue, and maybe rewrite the ending. And the critics, so loud before, suddenly have nothing left to say as the storm rolls in.